Munirji on getting the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman from the Indian government. How do you feel receiving this award from the hands of the Indian president?
Well, I consider these days as a historical and remarkable days in my life, and in these days, I remember my father who started this services in the Indian Hospice, and of course it is the result of all of our services and effects which my father started and I continue, and also it is a great honor for me to thank my all the members of the family because they helped me in getting these awards, and these days I don't miss to thank our ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Naftage, because I got this award during his presentation and out of his help to receive to this step and to receive this award. Once again, I am very thankful to our Indian government, and it will be a remarkable day for me and for all the members of my family. Yes.
Could you please tell us something about your Indian background, about your family?
As a matter of fact, I born in Jerusalem in 1928. My father was an Indian. He came from India in 1924 with a special request from the authorities at that time, which used to be called the Supreme High Council in Jerusalem. He came to Jerusalem to be the director and trustee of the Indian Hospice. He married with an Arab lady here, and I was born from an Indian father and a Palestinian mother, but it's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to be as an Indian person living in Jerusalem and going on the steps of my father, who started his service at the Indian Hospice since 1924. My father passed away in 1951, and as usual, it was my duty to continue this services and these efforts. And I became as director and trustee in 1952. Now we are in 2010, it means about 60 years I have spent as director and trustee of the Indian Hospice. I am very proud of all these services which I offer to our Indian community. And though I am living outside and far, far away from India, but really it is a great for me to feel that an Indian person born in Jerusalem and offering services to our Indian nations here in Jerusalem. It's a great honor for me, and I will keep on, and I hope my children will continue these services to our Indian nations in Jerusalem.
You have been the director of the hospice for the past 60 years.
Yes.
Could you please tell us some of the important Indian visitors to this hospice during this tenure?
Yes, the first Indian visitor to the Indian Hospice, it was our Indian ambassador in Cairo, and that was in 1950. The second visitor was Mr. I.S. Chopra. He was the ambassador of our Indian government in Lebanon and in Jordan. He visited our hospice in 1960, and also we thanks him very much for his support to the Indian Hospice. After 1960, of course, the war, the 6 Days War started, and most of our activities were freezed because of the result of that war. And things remained frozen till 1990, when the first Indian ambassador came to Tel Aviv, and he visited, of course, the Indian Hospice, and he saw all the damages which was there from the result of the war, and also he left a very remarkable efforts for the Indian Hospice. He renewed all that part which was destroyed during the war of the 67. Now, after Mr. Menon, after Mr. Menon, Mr. Jaswant Singh, the external foreign affairs, he also visited us. Mr. Gujral, Prime Minister of India, Mr. E. Ahmad, Minister in the External Affairs, and the Major General of the UNIFIL. He visited us in 2008, and lately, just in 2010, Minister of Commerce and Industry, His Excellency Scindia. That was the last Indian personnel who visited the Indian Hospice.
Munirji, your connection with the hospice and your family's connection with the hospice is very emotional and it runs deep. What are your plans for the hospice in the future? How will you try to maintain it as an Indian heritage in Jerusalem in the future?
I hope to continue on keeping the Indian Hospice, receiving Indian guests, because nowadays we don't receive any Indian visitors. We hope to continue receiving guests for the Indian Hospice, and beside that because, as you know, the Indian Hospice, it is as a guest house for the Indian peoples here in Jerusalem. I hope to make new activities beside as a guest house, to have an Indian cultural center, to have a good library in the hospice, and to continue these efforts which we started from 1924, and to keep the Indian Hospice protected and in well position. And as we consider it, the Indian Hospice is the little corner of India in Jerusalem. And God help us to continue this mission and to be in the good position in the eyes of our Indian government and Indian peoples. And that's it. At the end of this interview, I would like to say one word, which is Jai Hind, and Sare Jahan se acha Hindustan hamara. Shukriya.
Thank you. Thank you, Munir.
You are welcome. Thank you very much.